Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Monday evening community call. Gregory up here. Aloha from Bozeman, Montana. And behind me is a picture from the lanai at our timeshare in the Garden Island of Kauai. And it's our second favorite place to Montana, Bozeman, Montana, where we live. Okay, so tonight we've got something special for you. We're going to give you a little bit of history lesson. For some of you that are quite new, this will be new. For some of you who've been around a while, you've probably heard some of this story, but a little bit different twist on it. I just came across this video where Dr. Stacy Hallweger interviewed Dr. Nicholas Tivoli, both of them SPDs. Dr. Nicholas happens to be our sponsor, and Dr. Stacy happens to be in our organization. And she just did such a spectacular job interviewing him and asking him questions. And he does such a great job of sharing how they accidentally, on purpose, or guided, directed, blessed to find Lifeway, 14 years ago, how it all happened. I'm just going to play an excerpt of that video for you. We've loaded it up in our Live Younger YouTube channel. You'll get that in the newsletter. And I want to apologize that a couple of these links, this one right here for the tax advantages of a home-based business that Robin and I did a training last Thursday morning. If you didn't see it, you need to, especially with tax season. That takes you, I actually made a boo-boo when I was creating the newsletter. I copied it from down here, and it takes you to the link of the replays for the Vision 2024. So, but you just want to go to liveyoungeryoutube.com and you'll be able to watch that video, but you'll also find the full hour video of Dr. Nicholas being interviewed by Dr. Stacy. But tonight, we're just going to play an excerpt from it. I'm going to play the first 20 minutes. If you've already watched it and you want to check out, then I'm going to cover some of the other information that's in the newsletter. That's fine. But I think you'll find it very informative. And you just might want to go watch the rest of it when we're done here this evening. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you actually where to find it. Okay, here we go. And I'm going to go to our Live Younger YouTube channel. And this is liveyoungeryoutube.com. It's the first one here, special interviews. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to blow it up to full screen.
Well,
and I'm
so excited that you decided to join us tonight. My name is Dr. Stacy Hallweger, and I have a
okay.
the last couple of weeks
hold on
I have
1
been
minute.
interviewing
Stop share
doctors in my organization. But tonight, I'm actually going to let you hear from a doctor in our upline. And
I forgot to include the audio in Zoom. So take two. So I'm going to take it back to the beginning and we should be able to hear the audio fine now. So here we go.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are so excited that you decided to join us tonight. My name is Dr. Stacy Hallweger, and I have a very, very special guest with us tonight. The last couple of weeks I have been interviewing different doctors in my organization, but tonight I'm actually going to let you hear from a doctor in our upline. And I am so excited. I got to meet Dr. Nicholas back in Costa Rica at our senior presidential leadership retreat last November. Got to know he and his wife. And then, of course,
okay, we're going to go back to the square here, and I see the screen sharing wasn't working, and my monitor just pointed that out to me. So 3 is a charm. So we're going to share YouTube here. We're going to back this up to the beginning, and 3 is a charm.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are so excited that you decided to join us tonight. My name is Dr. Stacy Hallweger, and I have a very, very special guest with us tonight. The last couple of weeks I have been interviewing different doctors in my organization, but tonight I'm actually going to let you hear from a doctor in our upline. And I am so excited. I got to meet Dr. Nicholas back in Costa Rica at our senior presidential leadership retreat last November. Got to know he and his wife.
I'm pausing this for a second, and I'm just going to ask people in the chat if it's working okay. Nothing is moving on the video. It's frozen. Okay, well, 4 is a charm. So we're going to try it again. Thanks very much, Jen Allen. And we'll stop the share. We're going to start the share one more time. And here's the video. And share the video. And
all right, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are so excited that you decided to join us tonight. My name is Dr. Stacy Holweger, and I have a very, very special guest with us tonight. You know, the last couple weeks I have been interviewing different
I can for my brain intact, and
November got to know he and his wife, and then of course we got to do our event together in Arizona back in March. For those of you that were there with us, I got to see him on stage in action. So it was very, very informative and amazing. So I asked him if he would be on here with us tonight to be able to information and also be able to share with you how this technology can benefit you, but then also can benefit other doctors and practitioners too, and what he's done. So listen to this bio. So Dr. Nicholas has been a chiropractor for 25 years, having one of the most successful clinics in the United States. He continues to passionately study the latest and cutting-edge scientific breakthroughs in anti-aging and energy medicine in order to deliver the healthcare of the future. Dr. Nicholas is a LifeWave Senior Presidential Director and a U.S. Advisory Board member. He is one of the world's leading experts in the use of LifeWave patch technology. He spent the last 12 years coaching doctors and healthcare practitioners on integrating this technology into their practices to dramatically improve their own health and the health of their patients. He and his business partner, Dr. Joan, have become the go-to expert for doctors wishing to create residual income, allowing them to retire from their practice. And as you can see, Dr. Nicholas has just stepped out of the office for the day for us. He's out in Arizona. We're here on the East Coast, so he's about 3 hours behind us. So Dr. Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so excited to hear from you and let you just share. We have almost 250 people on our Zoom right now, so I know they can't wait to hear your insights. So thank you for being here with us.
yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor. And it's so exciting that we're growing like in leaps and bounds, and so much more interest, and like there's such a mass tipping point that's happening, and it's palpable, and I keep pinching myself because it's real. And like I said, as you introduced me, it's been since we got involved in 2008. So I'll kind of just quickly share my story with Joan. We had a practice in Tucson, and she started having a lot of health issues, and we were living a holistic lifestyle and doing everything so-called right, but stress can do a lot of harm to the body. And so we were not introduced to LifeWave through a distributor. We actually read it through Suzanne Summers' book Breakthrough. So Joan had a lot of symptoms. I'll just give symptoms only so I stay compliant. She had whole body pain issues. She was losing her eyesight, losing her memory. She had chest pain and out of the hospital for that, digestive issues, you name it, it seemed like she had it. So we were kind of in a desperate situation. So we shifted our practice around and went into using low-level laser therapy for her to do a different style of practice and do nutritional testing, where I continued to do what I was doing. So one of her patients came in one day and offered her an article in a Life Extension magazine. It was on light therapy through, and Suzanne Summers written the article. So we were kind of a followers through other reasons. And she was talking about her book at the time that just came out called 8 Steps to Wellness, called Breakthrough. And so it's kind of a catchy phrase. So we thought, well, maybe there's something in this book that can help you. And so we went over to Barnes and Nobles at the time and got the book and started reading through it. And each chapter in the book was a different medical doctor being interviewed by Suzanne Summers. And she was saying how, you know, these therapies can help you. And they're very controversial at the end. She's very controversial, but we're like, we'll try anything. So we were trying things throughout the book, and nothing really made any significant impact. But Joan's a big reader, so she kept reading, luckily. And it was the second to the last chapter in the book on LifeWave. And we were really big into glutathione. That was our hook. So I was doing IV drips for Joan for her eyesight and for detoxing. I was doing nutritional supplements for all of our patients. And that would elevate your levels 6% to 14%. Wow. And, I'm like, but they're spending $200-300, right, a month. And we read the chapter, and it's talking about how this technology is made for our military. And David had this patch that will increase your levels 300% in 24 hours. So I'm like, well, that's like medically unheard of, but what if this thing works? So I called the number in the back of the book. It's the same number it is today. And I was asking them, how can I get this stuff? And they said, well, who told you about it? And I said, well, Suzanne Summers. And they go, well, you have to sign up under a distributor. And it didn't dawn on me it was a business. She didn't say it was. She didn't say anything. She just said, well, you have to sign up under a distributor. Where do you live? And I said, well, I live in Tucson, Arizona. And she said, well, I just talked to somebody in Phoenix. I'll sign you up under them. And that's how I got involved. I mean, it's no joke, no accident. It wasn't an accident, but it's everything else for a reason. So we ordered everything that was available. So I got her the energy patches, the ice wave, the glutathione, the carnosine, silent night. I figured she could use them all, right? But I got a lot of it. I got the big diamond kit because I didn't know what she would need, and I thought abundant. And I think we were the first ones to start the diamonds. That they just came out. So, we signed up and ordered that, and I got them in about 3 days. And I put all of them on her, and they had all these funny little acupuncture points. And the patches were actually bigger than they were, like the size of a $50. Really big and funny looking, or silver dollar. And she didn't feel anything. And I don't know why I thought she would, because nobody told me what to expect. So I thought, well, maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I should put more on. And then when in doubt, try more. And still nothing really changed. So I thought, well, maybe I wasted a bunch of money. So we went back to work that day, and she, I checked in on her throughout the day, and nothing was significant. It wasn't until the evening that she was standing up, talking quick, and had no pain. So I was like, you look really good. What happened? And she just looked at me and started checking in with all of her pain spots. And all of a sudden she's like, wow, I feel great. I'm like, okay, this is weird. I thought, like when you rev your body before you pass, I thought she was maybe going through something like that. Very strange. And I said, well, let's just wait and see what happens. And I said, let's just check in and see the next day. And so the next day, her eyesight improved. All of her floating drives were gone. So now I'm really getting excited because I don't know what the heck's to happen or what to say. So we actually go back to practice, and that day, and the lady that gave me the article came in and was complaining of no energy. And Jones said, well, here, put these on and tell me what you feel next visit. She put energy patches on her. And the lady came back in the same day with people talking about how they wanted to get involved and join. And we're like, join what? What are you talking about? And they're starting to tell us how it's a business. And we're like, oh, God, it's going to kill our practice. We only heard all these horror stories. And we've never done network marketing. And we only heard all the bad stories that are supposedly out there, but we never did it. And Joan's a very business-oriented background person. And I was more the practitioner kind of person. So she just said, well, let's pray about it first. And we did. And then thought, well, let's trust and let go of the outcome. And it came in our life for a reason, because she was still better. And in a week, all of her symptoms were gone. This is how dramatic it was for us. And so, and all of our patients saw this. So they're like, they wanted it too, and we could not give it to them. So it was like, to me, it was like a perfect marriage for chiropractic. So chiropractic used to do this like 100 years ago. And it wasn't all the same things that are in the environment, like the toxicities, pollutants, EMFs, those sorts of things. So this felt like it put our practice back to that real, truly reducing the stress in the body and clearing the nervous system, but with light. And so since we were doing the lasers, it made us understand the concept, because it was so weird. A little patch could do what our $40,000 lasers were doing on steroids. Mm-hmm. And it was so much faster and cheaper. So we're like, well, we'll let them choose. And so obviously everybody wanted to do the patches. And so it just went viral through our practice, and we had huge referrals, huge changes on people. I call them mini miracles, because the changes I've never seen in practice that I still every day witness with the patches. And so to me, it's just like a nice complement to each other. So whatever style of practice you have as a practitioner, it just adds so much value to whatever you do. It doesn't take place of what you do, it just adds value to it. So that's how I dialogue when I do talk to doctors, so they don't think it's going to take place of it, because you don't want to do that. Right. So anyway, so she got better, and then we started doing the business part-time, and and we did meetings once a week and explaining how the patch works, which I'll get into. I did a demonstration, and then I'd ask people if they wanted to get involved, and that's all we did. And our second meeting, we had 125 people stand up only in our office. It went viral, and it was big. And everybody signed up as diamonds. So we're getting a call from Mike Collins at the time, he was the president, saying, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "We don't know why." And he starts laughing, and that was the joke. He said, "Because we've never seen this before." I think we signed up 40 diamonds in a month. It was some ridiculous amount. And that's $500 per diamond in the business side of it.
Yeah.
So we're like, why does everybody think this business is so bad? It's pretty cool and it makes you pretty good money. And this is when the housing market was crashing and our practice was down and our practice was up and we're making money hand over fist and we didn't know what we were doing because in our second month of the company, we were in the top 10 earners with no clue of what we were doing. I call it ignorance on fire. There is something to be said about that. You don't have to know what you're doing. Just let the patches do what they do. Just get them on and the magic will happen. The healing will take place. So we did that for about 2 years and then took the leap of faith and went in business full time, sold our practice back in 2010. And so John's my business partner today. We do LifeWave full time together. I am back in practice part time with my wife, who's a full time chiropractor. I'm just trying to get her to get burned out and kind of that rite of passage to then go LifeWave full time because it's so much more fun. And I love the freedom. The business has so much freedom and we're doing so much for so many people. And it's such a blessing and it just keeps getting better. So LifeWave had these little phases they went through. We fell in the phase right when the anti-aging movement kind of started. So the first phase was like pain, energy, sleep. And then they went into the glutathione, which is when we kind of dropped into LifeWave and the carnosine and then the Eon. Mm-hmm. And now we're in phase 3 where it's all regeneration. And so all of the patches are amazing. Every single one of them. I don't think one's actually better than the other. It's just find your sweet spot, your combination that you can afford and duplicate. So I learned that and I didn't understand that. I usually should just be like the patch everything, let them all wallpaper them and get the wow effect. And it works, but not everybody can afford it. So for me in the business, I started cold calling doctors. This is when their phone books were still around and actually had landlines. So I went to the number one owner in the company, which was Chuck Michaels at the time, very old school talking, network marketer. And I said, "Chuck, what did you do? How did you get where you are?" And he goes, "Well, I called 60 people a day, 7 days a week for 3 years." And I go, "Well, that's a lot." He goes, "It's just a call. You don't care if they sign up. You don't care if they hang up. You don't care what they say. You're learning dialogue." And he said, "You're like Jim Rohn says, it's the numbers game. And it's like your averages change as you get better with your skill set." So I kind of took that into play and I studied on that and I started making 60 calls a day, but I was only calling doctors out of the phone book and I was getting the same doctors calling me back because I called them twice sometimes because one ad would be here and their name would be here. It was kind of hilarious and embarrassing. And my phone was blowing up on Monday because I left so many messages on the weekend. Everybody's calling me back. I couldn't even answer the phone. So it became such a nightmare. I was like, okay, this isn't working for me. So I cut it down to 30. So that was kind of my magical sweet spot. And then I got pretty good at dialoguing with the front desk, the gatekeeper, and I averaged about 20 to 25 signups a month. And I signed up personally 500 doctors, but I couldn't duplicate myself. You got to learn to duplicate yourself. Nobody wanted to do what I did. And I signed a lot of these doctors up. So I thought if enough of them just stayed using the patches, which they did, I could make a living. And I did. And we were, but it wasn't like the dream. It wasn't the vision. It wasn't like we were doing really well. So 2018 in July, David pre-launches the X39 into the distributor network only, and it went viral. And it was because of the name of stem cell activation, and this is pre-COVID, and then the changes that people were getting that were very similar to what we saw with the other patches. So it was like, whoa, okay. And then a lot of network marketers came in, and I was blessed that it happened to be in my team, and I learned a lot from them. And it was like, wow. So my upline called me one day and said, "I want to gift you 2 distributors." I'm like, okay, because I made them a lot of money for the last 12 years at that time or whatever it was. And he said, "I want to put in 2 people. One's going to be this big network marketer and the other is just going to be a customer." And I said, "I don't care. I'll help anybody." That's just how I did it. And he knew that. So I got the sponsorship of Robin Mascari, and this other gentleman he kept because he was going to be the big whale. And so Robin was a high profile in another company, and that was fine. And she needed a knee replacement. So I taught her and helped her patch and got her some really good results, but she started thinking of other people that she knew could benefit from this. And I said, I'll help whoever. So we started doing 3-way calls, and it started getting lots and lots and lots of energy. And I'm like, okay, are you sure you don't want to do this? Because you're doing pretty good at it and getting really good results. Well, blessed us because the company she was in fell apart, and it was right at the right time, like everything happens for a reason. And the launch was happening in January of 2019. And Gregory was in LA when the launch was happening in LA, and Robin came down. So it just happened to work out. And they're watching the launch of this amazing historical breakthrough product. And there's only 300 people at this launch. And we're almost an 18-year-old company. So they're going the math and going, this is like the best of the best because it's a perfect product. There's no other product out there like it, and nobody knows about it. And it's got all the infrastructure built in. So it's like a brand new company, but not. And so this thing started to get a lot of attention, and it just has been crazy. So I'm here today to tell you a little bit about some of the patches, how I use them in practice, how does it work. I use cold laser. I have 4 lasers. They're collecting dust. They're really good lasers. If anyone wants to buy them, I'll sell them to you. I just don't use them at all. And the patch I use the same way they showed me how to use the laser. I show every one of my patients how to do this. I show every practitioner how to do it. I have videos on YouTube to physically watch me do what I do. So you can see how to do the upregulation of the nerves. It's called upregulation in the terms that we use with the laser. And the patch works the same. It's the same nano wavelength anyway. And I upregulate a nerve, so I can show you how to fix a shoulder, elbow, wrist. If you patch the wrist and it doesn't get results, it can be coming from the nerve coming out of C5. And I visually show you how to do that on the video. That's 1 to 2 minutes for all of our short attention span people. So you can see how to do it and correct probably more problems than just patching the wrist or the area of injury. If you're not getting results on pain, this usually gets it. It's pretty cool. Same thing on the lower part of the body, meaning hip, back, knee, ankle. And it's really nice and simple. So I like using Ice Wave. It's complicated on some people. So I started using Eon, 1 patch, way faster, simpler, and it's anti-inflammatory, and I stress. So it was really good for pain. And you can do yourself. When you do Ice Wave, it's hard to patch your back. It's hard to patch your back of your shoulder. So I like doing that for simpler ways for people that can't do that on themselves. So that's why I went that route, and you'll see that on the video. I've seen dramatic pain reduction with glutathione, and I like putting it on and let the body tell me if it likes it. Meaning, if it likes it, there's results and response. So I tell a patient, well, that means you're toxic, and it's pulling the toxic load off the body, which lowers pain and some thresholds there. So then it sort of self-educates themselves. And then when they're done and getting all balanced, this is when I say now X39 is kind of going to do everything and kind of keep everything in check as a balancing regenerative effect. So I kind of start on a few things with people being where they are here. And then I come over here and try to where if they're over here. And so I explain how the patch works is it's emitting light. You just can't see with the naked eye. So the body has infrared coming off it. If you have night vision goggles, you can see that red light coming off the body. And the patch is turned on by that light, and it signals a wavelength back to the body. The body has little cell receptors. They look like little satellite dishes. It takes the light, creates a chemical reaction within the cell, and then starts doing the healing that the patch is telling it to do. So the patch is like a wireless device, signaling. So each patch has a different wavelength. So in a light spectrum, green, red, yellow, blue, the light wavelength determines what it is. So David figured out what is the wavelength of glutathione? What is the wavelength of carnosine? What is the wavelength of GHK copper? And he's a brilliant genius. And it's like, this is energy medicine. This is the future happening 20 years now. Everybody's just now catching up to it. So it's really cool for just getting in because we're just now getting into massive momentum. This is the sweet spot, as people like to say. And it's not slowing down. This is what gets so exciting for me. I'm like, wow, man, I feel like I've been here for so long, and yet it's so new to so many people. So I'm the old guy, but I still feel excited and new, just like all of you. And I'm excited to share my little story and help you make faster choices and getting better results. Because I've learned a lot over the years. I don't think it's wrong. It's just it can be a lot easier, which means duplication, which means affordability. You got to keep that in mind in the back of your mind, because we as practitioners get so in our head, and it's like you got to lose some of that to make it get to where patients can do it if you're trying to do the business part of it, or to share with other doctors so they can say, oh, I can streamline this into my practice. Because I have a high volume practice. I typically will see between 60 to 100 people a day. So I don't have a whole lot of time to do clock method and ice and enter and do all these placements. I got to do fast. So I like to teach people fast, so then they can duplicate that system. But there's not a wrong way. It's just, what is your way? So there's ways I share that. So that's how I kind of ask doctors, what's your style of practice? So then I can show you how you can make it fit into that style. Because you may be anti-aging, not pain management. Or you may be pain management, not anti-aging. So the dialogue changes. So that's my whole story and what I do for patching, how the patches work, that I explain. But I think I answered most of what you were asking me, Stacy. So anything I miss, or you want to ask me some questions, I'll be happy to go there.
So that was fantastic introduction. Thank you so much for all that information. I know everybody, I can see them writing, their heads are down on the screen. And of course, they're all asking, what is your YouTube channel? They would love to watch the videos.
Just look at my name. So Nicholas Tivoli, DC. So NICHOLAS, then TIVOLI. D is in doctor, C is in cat, chiropractor. And it should come up, and just click on the channel, I guess. I mean, I'm not even techie, but there's about 7 videos on the different scenarios that should be able to help you get most of the questions, most of the patching that you would typically want to try, in terms of like how I do it. And it works for pain. I'm just talking pain only,
right?
To get someone out of pain.
And I think obviously all of us that are on here, there are about 400 people now. And of course, there's going to be thousands watching this recording. We all know people in pain. And that is obviously, I watched you on stage with people come up and on a scale of 1 to 10 or above, and you would take that pain right down with an Eon. So can you explain how and why that works so fast and so effectively on random people that came up with pain in different spots?
Yeah. So I keep it real easy for patients, because I get that a lot. And I say, when you turn a light on, does it take a while? Does it take a week, a month, a day? It's instant. Why? It's because it's electrical. We're working with electricity of the body. The patch works at light speed. This is a visual, so you can go, whoa, that makes sense. Now it's just playing with placement. Sometimes a placement can make the difference of the.
Well, I think that's enough for this call, but I think I baited the hook, and I bet there's a few of you that would that probably want to watch that video. So let's see if I can get things back going again here. And you want to check out Dr. Nicholas's YouTube channel. So I'm going to just go back to our newsletter. And Robin reminded me that down at the bottom of the newsletter in our quick access URLs, hey, look there's Dr. Nicholas's YouTube, number 17 in the quick access URLs. So Dr. Nicholas Tivoli, we should put his last name in there, but it's in the newsletter. Dr. Nicholas. Well, that's it. So anyway, just this brought back many memories for me when I watched this, and it is 8 months old. So it's not brand new, but it was new to me. I was in Scottsdale when Dr. Nicholas did that, and that was the first time Dr. Stacy saw him in action. And he did provide invaluable support when Robin first got started, and I was there in the following launch in 2019 when X39 was finally launched, and that's when the penny dropped for me. It's like Dr. Nicholas says, you look around the room and there was only 300 people there in a company that was 14 years old. He got his numbers a little mixed up, but that's okay. And the rest, as they say, is history. So really excited to have that. We added it to our own liveyoungeryoutube.com. You can check that out there. And, and I was talking with Robin, I think we're going to get Dr. Nicholas back on with us very soon and have Robin do another interview. She did a spectacular interview in our YouTube channel. You can find that there, and him going through a number of different patches and sharing some more details about the story. But we're eternally grateful for Dr. Nicholas and for Kai Jacobson that called called Robin and I, and then giving us to Dr. Nicholas, who again provided invaluable support to us to get our business up and going. So real quickly, I'm just going to zip through the newsletter, talk about a couple of the things I think are important to share. We have a new section here, new videos and downloads. If you haven't checked these out, Words at Work and a Get Started checklist and all of those. Now, last week we talked about LifeWave's first US boot camp, and you can, zap in on that QR code and they'll put you in the waiting list. And as soon as they finalize the pricing, date, time, location, you'll get a notice and a discount. It's going to be $179, and we'll all get special discounts because I put my name on the list. I plan on being there, and they've booked a room for 1,000 people. So expect a pretty good showing at this first boot camp. The anniversary convention, they are. If you read today's corporate newsletter, they explained they're changing the convention registration website. And so temporarily you're not able to register. But within the next couple of days, that should be up and running. So registration can continue. There's a limited number of registrations available, seats available, but they're not sold out. So we had a few people calling saying, gosh, are they sold out? I couldn't register. And if you read today's newsletter from the company, you'll find that out. So the next thing on the agenda is a Vibrant Living Facebook Weekly Spin. And I hope many of you are participating in this and using the Vibrant Living Facebook group for prospects, for customers, and just to share the good news about the LifeWave products. It's a wonderful way to build your business. And if you need support in using that, just reach up to some of your upline leaders. But we have this beautiful little, I got to get it out of the, let's see if we can make me and the spin work. I'm going to do the spin, and we put names on this spin of everyone that contributing stories in the last week. And the winner this week is going to get a free, Robin, is a sleeve of X39 or Eon. I'm not sure, but one of the two. Glutathione this week, a free sleeve of glutathione. So if you're ready, here goes the spin. And it's too bad you can't hear it when it happens. Too bad I can't get it to go. And today's winner is Ted Myers. Congratulations, Ted. You won a free sleeve of glutathione. So if you will please send us your mailing address, your snail mail address, we will get your sleeve to you. And there are hundreds of really incredible stories in the Vibrant Living Facebook group. I know you'll all enjoy it. We now in the Week at a Glance section here, just tomorrow night, we're going to have Ann Moreau on being interviewed. And I'm not sure who's interviewing. Janet. Oh, Janet. All right. Janet Kiefer, SPD, is going to interview Ann Moreau tomorrow night. There is a LifeWave Connect product webinar with David Schmidt this week. And the rest of this is, all right here for you to check out. And I don't need to go through it. You can read it for yourself. But this is our, the weekly Week at a Glance section in our newsletter. And then our quick access URLs. And again, Dr. Nicholas's URL is right there. So you click on that, it'll take you right to Dr. Nicholas's YouTube channel. So I'm going to stop sharing and stop talking. And thank you, everyone, for being part of this. I hope you enjoyed that interview, Dr. Stacy interviewing Dr. Nicholas, as much as I did over the weekend when I came across it. And I went, wow, this is just too good not to share, because it's always fun to get a little history lesson and a little product training from one of the best patchers on the planet. There's no doubt about it. Dr. Nicholas is definitely one of the most experienced and successful patchers on the planet. So thanks everyone for listening in, dialing in. I apologize for the technical difficulties this morning when we started here this evening. You don't have to be totally technically competent to be very successful in this company. That's proof. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you on one of the upcoming calls, probably tomorrow night. Bye-bye, everyone.